And we're live. So good. It's definitely good evening. Very, very late evening. Almost good morning to those here in the States, or it's definitely good morning to you if you are in Ghana, West Africa. I'm gonna take these off because of the glare. As you can see, guys, I am not. Oh, I am in rare form today. I'm not in my usual location. I am not home. So your girl is currently traveling. I am home. I'm home in Baltimore. This weekend is, I just said that like the way it's spelled, Baltimore. It felt so weird. I'm home. I'm home in Baltimore for the weekend. Super excited and stoked. I will be a part of the audience at the Perry's Live podcast. I guess you can say it's their tour. I'm going to their tour here in Washington later on this week. But I decided to take some time and give it back to myself as far as some me time is concerned from my family. So I did do a solo trip, but God is so good. He has blessed me with safe travels. My family is good and well back at home. And I'm just super excited to get this weekend started, to praise and listen to scripture and the word underneath of my home church on Sunday and things such as that nature. I'm in a great space right now. But as you can see, once again, it is a good evening. It's very, very late. As you can imagine, my lives usually go live 7:15 a.m. But because I was 22,000 feet or however so many feet up in the air, of course, your girl cannot go live from the plane. So we are going live now because I can't let y'all hang. Also, because I have some new family members that thought it not robbery to go ahead and join in on this walkthrough with us. So, welcome, welcome, welcome to Blessed by Grace. I hope that my audio is coming through clear because, as you can see, I also do not have my microphone. So, that is another thing. I guess I'll see it when I replay it. Anywho's, yeah, so we are going into chapter 31 of the book of Genesis. If you haven't already caught up to this chapter, 31st chapter or the 30th chapter, definitely hit pause right here. Go ahead on back and catch up. These are walkthroughs. These are not deep dives. So I do read through them. You will see me stumble. You will see me stutter. You will see me mispronounce several names. You will see me scratch my head at things or gain some type of clarity. And you see the light bulb go off in my head. But these are not to replace your daily devotions or daily Bible studies or weekly Bible studies. These are so that we can walk together, grow together, share inspiration or share revelations or clarification that we gain from going through these scriptures and help each other along our walk. Remember, the Bible was not written directly to you, but it was written directly for you to get to know our Creator as well as to transform our lives. If you're reading through these scriptures and your life is not being transformed, then you're reading them for the wrong reasons, possibly. So definitely search your heart, humble yourself, and let's go ahead and get into the word. I am reading from the Holman CSB version, but of course, you can read along to whatever version God speaks to you through, whatever version you're able to understand and regurgitate, because we do not want to read and not gain some type of understanding along the way. So definitely keep that in mind. I'm sorry once again for the angle, all that good stuff, but we're getting into it. Chapter 31, and it is a long one today. So it is good that I have the time and I don't necessarily have to run off. Um, and you're always able to replay this back whenever need be. So there are a few headings in this as well. We're going to read about how he separates from Laban. Laban overtakes Jacob, so issues coming. But then Jacob's covenant with Laban, and that will close us out for this chapter. So I do have my handy dandy Oh, you can't see it. You gotta see his mustache. There we go. Mr. Penn. It's not gonna do it. Is it gonna do it? It's not gonna focus. How do people do this? It's not gonna focus. It's a Mr. Penn highlighter. I love them. Shout out to you guys. All right, so check that out. I feel like I'm yelling. Chapter 31, verse 1 of the book of Genesis. And it reads, Now Jacob heard what Laban's sons were saying. Jacob had taken all that was our father's and had built this wealth from what belonged to our father. And Jacob saw from Laban's face that his attitude towards him was not the same as before. I feel like we've read through this, but I don't know. So we're just going to keep going. The Lord said to him, Go back to the land of your ancestors and to your family, and I will be with you. We did read 31. We are on 32. Kisses grandfather's one left. No, we didn't. You know what I did? I read 31 on the plane. That's what I did. Did not read 31 with you guys. So I should be right on target. I'm going to verify that in 1 second before I go any further, though, but I'm pretty sure I am on target. I took the liberty to go ahead and read 31. I believe I actually got up to 35 during my plane rides. So that would cause me to already, we're on 31. So we're continuing. So, yeah, mind you, uh, Laban is Jacob's father-in-law now. Um, Rachel and Leah's father, and they separated. And when they separated, I guess Laban thought that because they separated, Jacob was going to do poorly because he actually took the poor stock or the freckled and the spotted flock from sheep or goats from the flock. So he thought that he was going to produce less or produce illegitimate animals or whatever the case may be. Instead, God allowed Jacob to continue to flourish. Matter of fact, it says that Jacob's flock was actually stronger than that of Laban's. So now we're seeing in this first verse where it's the sons and the chatter that's starting. The sons of Laban are starting to chatter, and that Jacob is starting to see this attitude that Laban has against him. So Jacob saw from Laban's face that his attitude towards him was not the same as before. So he wasn't smiling and happy and willing to give him whatever he needed or whatever the case may be. We're on verse 3 of chapter 31. The Lord said to him, Go back to the land of your ancestors and to your family, and I will be with you. So this is God directly speaking to him. God sees and he can feel and understand that Laban is hating to a level where as though God was like, all right, it's time for you to get up out of here. Jacob had Rachel and Leah called to the field where his flocks were. He said to them, I can see from your father's face that his attitude towards me is not the same as before, but the God of my father has been with me. You know that with all my strength I have served your father, and that he has cheated me and changed my wages 10 times. This man has not just cheated him with work or even with the livestock that he ended up receiving, but he cheated him in the beginning with his wife. Instead of providing him the wife that he chose or that he wanted, which was in Rachel, he gave him Leah, being sneaky. So Laban has been against Jacob from the beginning, but Jacob still decided to live in peace. He still decided to work hard. He didn't allow that distension or discord between them to get in the way of him getting what he wanted, which was Rachel, but then also doing what he wanted to honor her father. If he said, The spotted sheep will be your wages, then all the sheep were born spotted. If he said, The streaked sheep will be your wages, then all the sheep were born streaked. God has taken away your father's herds and given them to me. This was not him doing it. Jacob didn't have say over what his flock produced. Only God does. So it was God who was changing these things or making these things as they were. Verse 10, when the flocks were breeding, I saw in a dream that the streak spotted The streaked, spotted, and speckled males were mating with the females. In that dream, the angel of God said to me, Jacob. And I said, Here I am. And he said, Look up and see all the males that are mating with the flocks are streaked, spotted, and speckled. For I have seen all that Laban has been doing to you. I am the God of Bethel, where you poured oil on the stone marker and made the solemn vow to me. Get up, leave this land, and return to your native land. So he has been seeing him. He hears him. He sees what's going on with Laban. And yet, Jacob remained faithful. So God remained faithful to him, promised him that he will be with him while he left. Verse 14, then Rachel and Leah answered him, do we have any portion or inheritance in our father's family? Are we not regarded by him as outsiders? For he has sold us and has certainly spent our purchase price. Of course, your purchase price was the wages of Jacob. In fact, all the wealth that God has taken away from our father belongs to us and to our children. So do whatever God has said to you. So now they're in agreement. They're agreeing with them. Go ahead and do it. Make sure you do it, because whatever is ours is supposed to be ours. So now at this time, we agree with your God. We agree with God, and so forth. So verse 17, so Jacob got up and put his children and wives on the camels. He took all the livestock and possessions he had acquired in Pandamaram, and he drove his herds to go to the land of Canaan, to his father Isaac. When Laban had gone to shear his sheep, Rachel stole her. Oh, Lord Jesus. Rachel, what in the world? What is wrong with these women? What is wrong with these women? Rachel stole her father's household idols. And Jacob deceived Laban the Aramean, not telling him that he was fleeing. Okay, so Jacob kept a secret. I would too, though. I wouldn't tell him that I was about to flee, especially if I knew that his attitude towards me was already what it was. Like, you're not about to know about my whereabouts so that you can either kill me, fight me, or try to persuade me. No, we're not doing that. So he kept it a secret. Jacob deceived Laban. He didn't tell him that where he was going. Verse 21 says that he fled with all possessions, crossed the Euphrates, and headed up for the hill country of Galilee. So he was getting it. But on the third day, verse 22, don't look like he got far. On the third day, Laban was told that Jacob had fled. So he got 3 days ahead of him, right? Verse 23, so he took his relatives with him, pursued Jacob for 7 days, and he overtook him. Of course, he caught up to him. So 3 days, he was behind, but it only took 7 days for him to overtake him in the hill country of Gilead. We're in chapter 31 of the book of Genesis, verse 24. But God came to Laban, the Aramean, in a dream at night. So God is speaking to this man now. Not only do I see that you have an attitude, not only do I see your hatred that's grown for Jacob, but now I see you chasing after the one that I'm protecting. Let's see what he got to say about that. God came to Laban in a dream at night. Watch yourself. God warned him, don't say anything to Jacob, either good or bad. Watch yourself. I'm singing a different song in my head, y'all. Lord, forgive me. Verse 25, when Laban overtook Jacob, Jacob had pitched his tent in the hill country, and Laban and his relatives also pitched their tents in the hill country of Gilead. Laban said to Jacob, what have you done? You have deceived me and taken my daughters away like prisoners of war. Why did you secretly flee from me, deceive me, and not tell me? I would have sent you away with joy and singing, with tambourines and lyres. You're lying. Verse 28. But you didn't even let me kiss my grandchildren and my daughters. You have acted foolishly. So now he's the fool. You have acted foolishly. I could do you great harm. But last night, the God of your father said to me, watch yourself. Don't say anything to Jacob, either good or bad. Now you have gone off because you long for your father's family, but why have you stolen my gods? That's the only thing he was worried about. He wasn't really worried about his children or his grandchildren. He worried about them idols that Rachel took. But why would Rachel? I guess those are the gods of her father. So those are what she knows too. And maybe that is what she's comfortable in, of course. But 1 second, guys. Let's see. So yeah, forgot what I was saying. Definitely forgot. But watch yourself, right? But he still says something. Anyways, verse 31, Jacob answered, I was afraid, for I thought you would take your daughters from me by force. If you find your gods with anyone here, he will not live. Before our relatives point out anything that is yours and take it. Oh goodness, now you about to get your wife in trouble. Jacob did not know that Rachel had stolen the idols, of course. So he didn't know. Verse 33, so Laban went into Jacob's tent, Leah's tent, and the tents of the two concubines, but he found nothing. When he left Leah's tent, he went into Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken Laban's household items, put them in her saddlebag of the camel, and sat on them. Um, Laban searched the whole tent, but found nothing, of course, because she was sitting on them. She said to her father, don't be angry, my lord, that I cannot stand up in your presence. I'm having my period. So Laban searched, but could not find the household items. You're a little tricky, somebody, Rachel. And of course, he wasn't going to let her down, make her get down with that. Verse 36 reads, then Jacob became incensed and brought charges against Laban. What is my crime? He said to Laban. What is my sin that you have pursued me? You've searched all my possessions. Have you found anything of yours? Put it here before my relatives and yours, and let them decide between the two of us. I've been with you these 20 years. Your airways and female goats have not miscarried. I have not eaten the rams from your flock. I did not bring you any of the flock torn by wild beasts. I myself bore the loss. You demanded payment from me for what was stolen by night or by day. There I was. The heat consumed me by day and the frost by night, and sleep fled from my eyes. He was going through it these last 20 years. He was going through it. For 20 years in your household, I served you. 14 years for your two daughters and 6 years for your flocks. And you have changed my wages 10 times. See, I would have left the first time he changed my wages, but sorry. If the God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac had not been with me, certainly now you would have sent me off empty handed. The fact that he already knows that the only reason why he was able to make it through those 20 years was the fact that God was with him. Because if he would not have went with him, if he was not with him, he would have left empty handed. Nothing would have mattered. The woman wouldn't have mattered. The flocks wouldn't have mattered. Him serving his uncle wouldn't have mattered. But God has seen my affliction and my hard work, and he issued his verdict last night. He had to press 20 years. But God saw him and issued the final say. Then Laban answered to Jacob, the daughters are my daughters, the children my children, and the flocks my flocks. Everything you see is mine. But what can I do today for these daughters of mine or for the children they have borne? Come now, let's make a covenant, you and I. Let it be a witness between the two of us. So Jacob picked out a stone and set it up as a marker. Then Jacob said to his relatives, gather stones, and they took stones and made a mound, then ate there by the mound. Laban named the mound Jegar Sahadudith. I think I practiced that earlier too. I'm pretty sure I just butchered it. But Jacob named it Gilead. Then Laban said, this mound is a witness between you and me. Today, therefore, the place was called Gilead, and also Mizpah. For he said, may the Lord watch between you and me when we are out of each other's sight. If you mistreat my daughters or take other wives, though no one is with us, understand that God will be a witness between you and me. Laban also said to Jacob, look at this mound and the marker I have set up between you and me. This mound is a witness, and the marker is a witness that I will not pass beyond this mound to you. So it ends here. My pursuit of you is over. Verse 53. The God of Abraham and the God of Nahor, the gods of their father, will judge between us. And Jacob swore by the fear of his father Isaac. Then Jacob offered a sacrifice on the mountain and invited his relatives to eat a meal. So everyone partaked in this covenant. So they ate a meal and spent the night on the mountain. Laban got up early in the morning, kissed his grandchildren and daughters, and blessed them. Then Laban left and returned home. You did all that what for what? To see God. So of course you guys know I usually at this time head on over to um Dr. Evans. Usually head on over to him and see what he has to say. But since I'm not home today and my carry-ons were pretty packed, um I do not have my commentary book, but I do have the next best thing at this time, and that is this app. I just got this app through my brother, and a close friend of his introduced us to this app called Logos. Yeah, I have to do another video on that and introduce that soon once I get the hang of it, because I'm not fully there yet either. But I was reading through the commentary earlier, and it spoke, and it actually goes verse by verse. So I'm not going to go fully into it. But there was a part that I should have highlighted because I'm not going to be able to find it. So when we're going back to where Rachel and Leah answered Jacob in regards to him telling them that he heard from God, having heard his views, they expressed their entire approval, and from grievances of their own, uh they were fully on board with what he had said and the fact that God had told him what to do. So whatsoever God has said unto you, those to do it. So they agreed. Jacob rose up. He only spent a little time with his people and removing and striking down the tents and poles and stowing away their baggage. But he got up and he fled. He stole away. It showed the prudence and necessity of departing secretly, otherwise Laban might have detained him by violence or possibly killing him. So this chapter was definitely loaded. There's a lot of detailed information that this commentary does offer. I'm not, it goes verse by verse. I'm not going to be able to do verse by verse, but closing out verse 52, it does list the fact that the heap be witness, or this mound be witness, this covenant that's being made. So objects in nature were frequently used um, in these patterns, but over and above, there was a solemn appeal to God. They were bringing this to God. Jacob and Laban, as one, was bringing this as God to be the witness before them. It marked the difference in religious sentiments of the two. Laban spoke to God of Abraham and Nahor, their common ancestors, but Jacob, knowing that idolatry had crept in among the branches of family, swore by the fear of his father Isaac. They who have one God should have one heart. They who are agreed in religion should endeavor to agree in everything. So I'm hoping that we are in agreement during this walk. Welcome, welcome, welcome once again to all of my new family members. Thank you so much. If you stuck around, please do hit and give me a like on this video so that I know that you are walking along with your girl. And once again, if you are an imperfect person wanting to get to know a perfect God more and more so that transform, then definitely hit the subscribe button. Over to my social media pages that I do post there more often and different types of content. Remember, this month we are discussing Bible topics or fun facts about the Bible that you may or may not have known. So if you're wanting to get into that, go ahead and head on over. Once again, guys, I do want to thank you for watching Blessed by Grace with your girl Tanika. And as always, stay blessed.